Okay, everyone, here we are tonight. This is a good, fun project if you want to kind of get a little outdoorsy with it. And all you need is, so what we're doing first off is we've got this actually Walmart brand hatchet, which I've kind of been having my eye on, and I've been just wanting a reason to buy it, try it out. Because, I don't know, seems like not a bad hatchet for 18 bucks. And I like the feel of it. But anyways, so we're going to take this hatchet, we're going to strip down this finish off the handle, that poly finish that gets sticky and just kind of doesn't feel so good on your hand. And we're going to strip it down, and we're going to put a nice boiled linseed oil finish on it. This is an easy project, but it's very satisfying and just a good beginner project to get you going. So all you need is a knife. This is just a cheap Mora. I love these knives, man. I'm telling you what. But just a cheap pocket knife will do. This does not have to, honestly, use a crap knife if you can. This is kind of my beat up utility shop knife here with a sheath I made for it. You need some 220 sandpaper at least, 120 and 220 optimal, boiled linseed oil, that's it. So you need some 220 grit sandpaper. You need, well, really you want 120 and 220. So a knife, sandpaper, boiled linseed oil. That's it. Okay, that's all you guys need for this, and I will show you the rest here. It's pretty simple. Okay, so first thing we're gonna do here is we got to get this old finish off this hatchet. This is definitely easiest if you have a vise and put either a rag, or if you got a piece of leather, put it in there and clamp down on the head of this thing nice and tight, and then tighten the vise down. What you're going to do is just take your knife going perpendicular to the thing, and you're just going to start scraping. You don't have to, I'm at a backwards angle. You're not going like this, not like this. It's like this. It just comes right off. Okay? I'm gonna actually bring the camera over to show you. Okay? This is very easy to do. Okay? Look at it. See it all flaking off there? You just drag the knife across and it comes off. So you can tell it's off when if you look at it in the light. If there's still the polyurethane on there or whatever it is that they dip it in, you'll see it kind of reflect. So you want to try and get as much off as you can with your knife, and then we'll hit it with the sandpaper. So we're just gonna scrape this here for a minute, and that's gonna, we'll just go through, scrape it here, scrape it on the sides as much as you can. We'll turn it over. We'll get back here on the handle. We'll make sure we get the, what's it called? Make sure we get the bottom of the handle here. Scrape that all off too. Okay. So we're just, easy. This is not a hard thing to do. It just flakes right off there. And you can see the shininess go away on it. You probably can't really capture that on camera, but you'll see the shininess go away, and you can kind of feel it, but really the best way to go is just to have it in the light, and you'll see that kind of plasticky shine, which is even easier to see once you start scraping and you have something to contrast it with. So like I said, we'll just keep scraping here as much as we can in this position, I guess. And then, we'll flip it around if we have to. So, and this doesn't require a super sharp, this actually doesn't require a sharp knife at all. I used to have like just a really crappy pocket knife that I would never. It was one of those, you know, $2 knives that got where the screws had worn out, so it wouldn't even stay. It was just a dangerous knife to use, honestly. That was perfect for this because you don't need a sharp blade, and honestly, I mean, there's probably even a case to be made that if you use a dull blade, you don't risk digging in. You don't risk digging in the handle. So, but yeah, scrape all this off first and then sand it. Don't scrape this part and then think you're gonna sand this part. Get it all scraped off first. There's probably other ways to do this, but this works just fine for me. Just scrape it all off there with a knife. I don't know, maybe you can put some kind of thinner or whatever on here. Maybe you can even use a little heat. I don't think I'd even want to use a little heat because that might make it gunk up. So just scrape it off. That's it. So we'll get back with you guys here in a minute. Okay, so see if you can see this. Doing these sides. Look, honestly, you can do the whole thing like this. If you don't have a vise handy, just put it up against something on the table and you can just lean into it, you know. I'll hold it right there for you. I just want to show you that, guys. This is, it's not a high-tech thing. Like I said, this is a good, just kind of beginner. You feel like getting a little outdoorsy, and I'm telling you, this is where it all starts. Because once you get an axe all redone up, then what do you want to do with it? Then you want to go use it. And then you get to using your axe, you get to using your hatchet, and then you're like, well, I want to do more with this hatchet. You know, maybe I want to take it out the woods and I want to cut down some, or I want to harvest some dead tree in the wood using my axe or my hatchet. No, now, not only do I want to go find a dead tree to practice chopping and cutting on, but I also would like to, you know, I'd like to build me a fire for the night. All stuff that you do with your hatchet. And then, you know, if I'm going to build a fire, well, I might as well sleep here. Build me a fire. Maybe build me some poles or make a couple stakes for my tent using my hatchet. Maybe you just want to see how many things your hatchet can do. And, you know, next thing you know, you have more than one hatchet. Next thing you know, you're camping out for more than one day. Next thing you know, you're taking a hatchet and an axe with you. Found some axe that you redid as well. Before you know it, you're a full-fledged, you know what I mean? You're a full-fledged woodsman, as they have it. So, you know, it all starts with an axe. That's what I've found. So there's some kind of, I don't know, axes and hatchets. I'm sure if you're watching this video, you probably agree with me. There's some kind of just something that hits your primal senses. It says, that's cool. I like that. You know, I don't know. There's just something cool about them. Maybe it's because of the potential that they have. Just thinking about what you could do with one. Maybe it appeals to our violent side. You know, maybe our brain sees it and, yeah, damn, I could take down a damn elk with that thing. You know what I mean? Probably not, but maybe there's some sort of caveman, what do you want to call it? There might be some sort of cave sense that triggers. I mean, plus they're just a nice looking tool. I'll put it in your kitchen. Finish these things off, go. I'll tell you what, you can find a lot of old axes and stuff. You find some barn sales and stuff like that at what's it called? Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, just garage sales. Pop your, pop in a garage sale and and find you an axe. You'd be surprised. You'll find a little hatchet for $5. Maybe you'll find it in the dollar bin. Go to an auction, you know. I got this great big chopping axe that my mom's got a warehouse up north of me. And when she moved in it, she's got her business. She runs out of it. And she's got, there was a bunch of stuff in there, and there was just some old felling axe in there. So, I mean, that thing was, it was all kinds of rusted. So I cleaned it up, took a wire wheel to it, got it nice and cleaned up, and redid the handle on it. It was all, oh, that's what happened to it. It was in my brother's house. My brother had a small house fire. And, all kinds of stuff. He, I think that thing got caught up in the fire a little bit, so the handle was, well, and it just got left outside for a long time. You know how little brothers can be, you know? So, but I'm gonna keep going at this thing. Besides, it's probably annoying to hear the scraping stuff while talking to this thing. We're about got it here. About got all that shininess removed. So once we go there, we will just once we get her, we will start putting the oil on, or sand it and put the oil on. So we'll be back with you here in a minute. All right, so we got her, got all the shiny stuff off, right? All a bunch of flakes on the ground. Now you just take some sandpaper. Starting with the 120. And we just start hitting it. I don't really think you need to start with anything more coarse than 120. That's the way I've always done these. I've had no problem. Start with the 120, move up to 220. So you're just knocking everything down here, taking out any of that unevenness or ripples you might have felt, you might have caused with the, what's it called, with the knife, and any of that poly that you might have missed. So you can just see how much it starts bringing out the grain. So it really just takes a piece of wood and gives you a nice piece of wood. Also, when you're picking these things, I didn't say, I mean, you're not going to run it. I haven't found I run into this too much, but you want to find a piece where the grain is going with the handle as much as possible. See how this grain is going nice and with the handle? I mean, that's about the best one. And then also you want to look down the thing and make sure that it's not mounted all, you know, wacky or something like that. So that's about the most you can check on a little hardware store hatchet or whatever, you know. But yeah, we'll just sand this down. You know, where you see any of those little shiny areas, like I said, every step you take it, once you start sanding, you see they stand out a little more. So just start. You can also kind of smooth up the bottom of that handle. You know, give you some nice edges where, you know, sometimes they come out of the factory and there's nothing really wrong with it, but you can just make it nice and smooth. You know what I mean? And that can be kind of a tough spot to get that stuff off, so make sure you got it all off there. But just, you know, just hit it real good. Get it knocked down. And 120 will make it feel pretty smooth, but I'm telling you, once you hit it with the 220, then you'll be like, man, wow. Because there is a practicality to this. It's not just to make an axe handle look nice. The boiled linseed oil finish is, and once you sand it down, it's much nicer in your hand. It feels much nicer. Plus that poly stuff they have on there gives you blisters a lot easier. If you get a nice smooth boiled linseed oil finish, it just, I mean, it makes a heck of a difference. It's a lot easier on your hands. It's a better finish. It's more durable finish. And, you know, it's just all around, you know. Things that take time typically are better quality, you know what I'm saying? They're not using this poly finish on thing because it's a better quality. They're using it because it works and it'll get it out the door. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. But if you have the time to spend, which I'm going to time this thing all said and done, this can't be, probably isn't more than half an hour worth of handle. Now also, you guys got to put an edge on this. I'm going to make a separate video of putting a nice edge on this, but you do need to sharpen it. And we'll show you how to do that. Because, like, this thing is a dang... I mean, this thing is... Calling it a butter knife is not even... That's almost giving it too much credit. So, this thing probably wouldn't even cut butter. This is about the dullest. Some of them, I mean, those East Wings, I got one of those little East Wing, you know, things are nice. That came with a decent edge on it. Those Harbor Freight hatchets, hey, there's another cheap hatchet you can go get you if you want to practice on something or you're looking for a cheap hatchet. I love that thing. Got a nice long handle on it. But those, okay, look, we're down to the 120 now. So you can just look at that thing already, you know. So now we'll hit it with the 220. And you'll, I mean, once you hit it with 220, you'll be like, okay, it's all making sense now. But what was I saying? Oh, those Harbor Freight hatchets. Yeah, those. Let me turn down this radio. Those Harbor Freight hatchets. Those things. They come with a decent edge on them as well. You know, this old Ozark Trail thing. It's probably the worst edge I've ever seen on a hatchet. I mean, they call it a hardware store grind, where, you know, they don't put a razor sharp edge on the hatchets because, like I said, there's something intriguing to probably everyone, especially men and young boys. Emphasis on the young boys and running around in a hardware store, you know, while their dad's trying to decide on fertilizer. You know, young boy wanders over and starts messing around with one of the axes or the hatchets, and, you know, we don't want anyone losing any limbs in Lowe's. So that's why they put kind of a not as violent grind on them, if that makes sense. But, oh man, I'm telling you guys what. It's just, man, it feels so nice. So we about pretty much got it there. Give it one more little pass with that 220. If you feel any kind of one spot that feels any rougher, hit it again. Just hit the whole thing again, you know. Make sure you get, you know, you can take and get right up to that head and all that when you do it. Get the bottom of your handle here real good. Do whatever you gotta do. And that's it. So that's it. We got her sanded down. Now, take a little cloth here. Just get all that sawdust off. Okay. The sawdust off. Also, this video is brought to you by my little wood burning stove, keeping us nice and toasty in here. So, anyways, yeah. So now we've got our we're sanded down. As you can see, just man, I mean, it feels smooth. It's smooth as glass. When you sand it down, it's just about as smooth as glass. If you want to take it to the next level, you could get 320. I don't really think it's necessary personally. 220 gets a pretty smooth finish. But there you go. So you got your hatchet sanded down. Now, time to take our boiled linseed oil. So there it is. There's regular linseed oil and there's boiled linseed oil. Regular linseed oil does the same thing, but it takes much longer to dry. And I've never used it. You might probably have to cut it with some sort of thinner because it's so thick. The boiled linseed oil, I'm not sure 100%. I just know that it, you know, I don't know. It's whatever how it's processed. It cures faster. You know what I mean? So I got these. This is just a cotton cloth, one of those Shop Rag brands towels, a little thicker than a paper towel. I find they work really well. And look, you guys, when you use this stuff, I just dab it in here and then I smear it on here. This makes a great fire starter. I just started my fire with that you can just tear off a piece and throw that in your fire because this oil-soaked stuff burns a long time. And on that, you get these little oil-soaked boiled linseed oil cloths and rags. If you just have a pile of them, they will spontaneously combust. And that's not like one of those urban legend things. It actually will happen. So honestly, I don't even collect them. I have one that I sit on top, one little rag I sit on top of my little container here. That's why I like to do it. Get a little container and put it in there. And I put one rag on top of the container so I have it when I need it. But otherwise, I don't leave these things laying around unless it's just, like I said, one and it's out in the open, not in a confined area or whatever. Because I like to use them for tear off a piece of fire starter. But don't have a pile of linseed oil rags laying around, and don't throw it with your other rags in there. But anyways, all we're going to do is we just smear this on here and just get a pretty liberal amount onto the handle. Okay, plenty on there. Alrighty. Get a good, make sure you get plenty down in that. Sometimes I even put the bottom of the handle, I just dip it in the oil. Okay, your hands are gonna get messy, it's okay. It is okay. So you get a good healthy helping of this stuff on here, right? Okay, especially for this first coat. keep smearing it on until it stops soaking in the wood. Okay. Then what I do is I take the palm of my hand, and you're going to rub that into the wood. I want your hand to feel warm, and rub that in. Okay? And that'll get that in there nice and good. Okay, there we go. And we can see there it's already. Okay. And if you miss any spots sanding, it's going to show now, you know? So, because the oil won't soak in on that part. So just rub it in nice and good. Then after you have it rubbed in, take a rag and just go over it once and get the excess off there, because if you have a glob of it dry up, it gets real sticky. So rub that all on there. Okay. And there you go. That's all there is to it. Now you're going to do this. Take your oil. You're going to oil up this handle every day for a week, every week for a month, and every month for a year. So we're going to do this 7 days in a row. And then we're going to do it, you know, if we, let's see, it's, what is it? Well, whatever 7 days from now is. So next Sunday, we'll oil it, and then we won't oil it until the next Sunday. We'll do that for 4 weeks. And then after that 4 weeks, then we'll just oil it once a month. And then, you know, it'll just be kind of after that, just a yearly thing. Obviously, you can't really over oil your handle. But that's that. And you have yourself a much, much better hatchet, starting from just a good old little hardware store hatchet. So just gonna put that in here, put it right there, let it dry. We're gonna make sure and not put these in a, you know, confined space. We'll just put them out in the air, kind of out in the open. I just burn them. I just take them outside and set them on fire, rather than throw them in the trash. If you are just gonna throw them away, just burn it outside. You know what I'm saying? And just a little paper towel. So that's that. Okay. And then, you know, maybe tomorrow I'll put an edge on it, and I'll do that in a separate video. But essentially for the edge, you're going to need a sharpening stone, and you're going to need a file. You're going to need a file kind of like, just get yourself a big old, here's the file that I use, you know. Big old bastard file. Here's another file that I use. So yeah, get you a file and a sharpening stone. That's all you really need to get yourself a good enough edge. You can get a ceramic stone and you can get all this stuff, but you can get yourself a fine edge with just a file and a sharpening stone, a regular run-of-the-mill sharpening stone. I've got one I literally got from the Dollar Tree. It was $1. So, and I've used it, and it's been working. So, not the best, but it gets the job done. Anyways, thanks for watching. Have fun. Like I said, it's a great little beginner project, and we will see you, we'll see you around.